Well, good evening, everyone. This is impromptu house calls because if you are a part of the house calls family, for the last 2 weeks, I really have not broadcasted due to the fact that I've been traveling, time difference, didn't have the greatest internet connection. So I didn't want to provide something and make it not as professional as we would like to make these messages. But I want to conclude the month of May because I really tried to make May, the month of May, the month that we stood in front of the mirror together. We asked ourselves, what would we fix if we only had 24 hours? We explored what we would do if fear no longer controlled our decisions. But tonight I want to bring those conversations together because there's one final question that may be the most important of them all. And so I want to say, if you had 24 hours and everything you attached your identity to was gone, your titles at the job, your position, your money, your reputation, your routines, your clothes, your outer appearance, your spiritual walk, all of that was gone and you were left with nothing but yourself. What would you finally admit? Would you admit that you've been chasing success while neglecting your peace? Would you admit that you've been busy but not productive? Would you admit that you've been waiting for the right moment when truth is you've been afraid to move? So, as your man Dr. Rory T. Edwards does every time he comes on House Calls, I gotta give you the diagnosis. I gotta diagnose you because I'm trying to let you know how this really moves and how fear is very controlling, and most people try to camouflage it as something exhaustion, depression, anxiety, things of that nature. But the fact of the matter is that it's really fear. And fear of the unknown has been the greatest detraction for people to move forward in life. So, the greatest loss most people experience is not the loss of money, status, or opportunity. The greatest loss is losing themselves while trying to become someone else. How many times, you see all these, rappers, they're taking names of individuals who were street legends, or they're taking names of individuals whose names were connected to, federal crimes or whatever, and it makes them feel different. You see people out there, they give their kids nicknames, they give themselves nicknames, they self-appoint themselves as somebody else who they're not. And who are they creating? They're creating a mirage instead of using their own name to actually grow themselves into what their purpose is supposed to be. So many people spend years adapting to environments, expectations, and circumstances that slowly pull them away from who they truly are. They become who others need them to be. They become what society rewards. They become what's accepted, tolerated, and expected. Right? Once again, I'm going to tell you that one more time. They become what is accepted, tolerated, and expected. And one day they wake up and realize they no longer recognize the person staring back at them. That's why I said for this month of May, on the 31st day of May, for the month of May, we stood in front of the mirror with each other. Now, I'm going to discuss 3 points tonight, very quick. It's not going to be a long one because I know it's pretty late and people might be trying to get ready for work, or, some people may just be relaxing. But this is a good time for me to get this out to you. Discussion point 1, what have you been pretending not to know? That's discussion point 1 we're going to talk about. What have you been pretending not to know? Discussion point 2, we're going to talk about what have you been holding on to that no longer serves you? And then discussion point 3, who are you when the noise stops? Because a lot of times we hear things And we don't realize this noise and the frequency of that noise disrupts us from moving forward. But let's go back to discussion point one. What have you been pretending not to know? There are truths that visit us every day. Every day when we wake up, we have thoughts. Some of them are truth, some of them are lies, some of them are distractions, some of them are seeds that are trying to be planted. But we feel them when we wake up. We hear them in our quiet moments. We recognize them when life slows down long enough for us to listen. The question is not whether the truth has been speaking to you. The question is whether you've been willing to hear the truth. Because like I said before, if you wake up, I'm going to give you a scenario. If you wake up at 6 a.m., by 7:30 a.m., your brain has processed over 10,000 thoughts already. Has processed over 10,000 thoughts. The thoughts may be of something that you thought about last night. It may have been a discussion that you had yesterday. It may have been a post that somebody said that they didn't agree with what you were saying. And all of these things, and you're analyzing them, so you don't realize by 90 minutes into your day, unless you direct or redirect those thoughts, you've had over 10,000 thoughts in your mind by 90 minutes into your everyday. I want you to stop sometime and just think about that. And as you get up tomorrow morning, I want you to think. I don't want you to try to say, oh no, I didn't have 10,000, because a lot of times you don't even know that those 10,000s are smaller ones that are adding up. You know, it could be simple. You could have 1,000 thoughts about if you're going to brush your teeth, or if you're going to gargle, brush your teeth, gargle. If you're going to gargle, brush your teeth, water picks, brush your teeth, gargle, those things like that. People don't realize that stuff. They think that they have one or two thoughts, and I'm going to get them to brush my teeth. But do you realize how many things that are in that portion of just you brushing your teeth? So that's what I'm talking about. What have you been pretending not to know? You know these things, but you're unwilling to face them, right? So let's go to discussion point number 2. What have you been holding on that no longer serves you? Sometimes growth isn't about adding more. Sometimes growth is about releasing what no longer belongs. What are some of those things that we don't need to, that don't belong in our current systems, or are not thriving to move our agenda to the next level? Sometimes growth is about releasing what no longer belongs. Old beliefs, old fears, old relationships, old versions of ourselves. You know, why do snakes peel their skin? Because they've outgrown the skin that they're in. And they have to, if they're going to expand and grow, they have to peel that skin. So sometimes we have to take on the mindset of reptiles. We have to peel our skin to grow out of that old habits, because then all we do is circulate in the same little small circular circumference, and we feel good in that water, in that little bit of water. But guess what? Eventually when the sun comes out, it dries up that puddle. And so you are in a position where you need to get to some better water, some more water, or you will perish, right? So you need to understand those type of concepts. You cannot become what you were meant to be while carrying everything you've outgrown. That's called hoarding. You know, I've seen some shows where people have had so much stuff in their house. They got so much stuff that consumes their environment that they don't know, you don't know, nobody knows what's in there. So you got to understand, what have you been holding on to that no longer serves you? And the third point is, who are you when the noise stops? When the applause disappears, when the distractions are removed, and when life becomes quiet, who remains? Who remains? They say that a man or a woman who has found eternal peace and love doesn't worry about who remains, because what they've established in their foundation is all they need to remain. But they do. We are human creatures, and we do need social interactions, but we don't need anybody to uplift us. We don't need anybody to make us feel that we're wanted, and that's where we're trying to get you, to these particular points. Because again, what we said on the topic is, if you had 24 hours and lost everything, what would you finally admit? And that's what we're trying to get you to understand. Now, the answer tells you more about your future than any title, degree, paycheck, or accomplishment ever could. And that's when the applause disappears, when the distractions are removed, and when life becomes quiet. Who remains? I want you to know before we go to reflection questions, this is your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards, and I am the holistic strategist therapist for the Rory T. Edwards group. We have a group of amazing individuals who know their work inside and out and can definitely help you to get to that next level in your life. We can also provide strategies for you that give you the working tools that will make you become who you were born to be. You can send us an email at rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. Once again, it's rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. Please send us something if you are, or someone you know is in a position of trying to peel their skin and they want to grow into their purpose. We have the ability to help them to navigate to that next plateau of their life. So, what are my reflection questions? If everything changed tomorrow for you, what truths would remain? I want you to write some of this stuff down. When I do this stuff, I don't be just doing it for me to be talking. I want you to write some stuff down, because even in your own little private area, when the noise stops, I want you to reflect on these questions. So if everything changed tomorrow, what truth would remain? That's number one. Number two, what have you been avoiding admitting to yourself? Right? You remember one of those old adages that they say everybody got skeletons in their closets. Well, sometimes the bones are starting to shake. The bones are starting to shake. We're in a different time now. So those bones are starting to reveal their processes and their identity. So what have you been avoiding admitting to yourself? Number three, what would your life look like if you finally embraced the truths? So since I stumbled on that a little bit, what would your life look like if you finally embrace the truth? Right? Because so many times we go around living in fantasy ciphers that our truth is what we have presented to other people, and in reality, our real truth consciously is fighting through us. But let's go to what's the name? I want you to really realize that if this service has revealed anything to you over these months of these house calls, let it be this: awareness is powerful, but awareness without action changes nothing. Right? Awareness is powerful. Some people say, oh, I got it all together. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I do all this. But if you are still the same person and you're telling me you're doing this, and I see you 6 months later, you're still doing the same routines, you're still creating the same patterns, you're still moving the same way, awareness without action changes nothing. Right? So if you're ready to move from reflection to transformation, I invite you again to connect with us at the Rory T. Edwards Group and learn more about our Empower 9 Wellness Method. Your next level of growth begins when you stop managing systems and start addressing the root cause. And that's what we do. We get to the root, because see what the root does. The root is the epitome of the fruit. See, the root, as it's watered, that's what it does to the fruit. It makes sure the fruit is edible. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that your fruit is able to assist other people and the people you think you love, or you know you love, and you're trying to help. But if you haven't helped yourself, it's very difficult to help anybody else. So, as we close out the month of May, I challenge you to spend some time with yourself. Not the version others see, not the version you've created for survival, the real you. Who is the real you when you look in the mirror? When nobody else, when you're looking around and everybody else in the house is asleep and you're looking in the mirror at yourself, who are you looking at? Who are you asking questions to when you look in the mirror? Because the person you've been searching for may be the person you've been avoiding, right? So we're going to end this with, as we move into the month of June, we're going to start, and we're going to begin with a new journey. We're going to title our first session, which is Assimilation. And why am I talking about assimilation? Because for years, many of us have adapted, adjusted, blended in, and conformed to systems, environments, expectations, and cultures that were never designed with us in mind. The questions we'll explore in June are simple. What happens when you spend too much time assimilating that you forget who you are? So join me next week as we begin a powerful conversation about identity, belonging, influence, and the cost of becoming everything except yourself. The reason why is I've been looking on social media and I see all of these people, and I've got many invites for people to ask me, am I going to be a part of this America 250-year celebration, the greatness of America? It's what's it called, semi-quintessential year, and then people are asking me, could I come out to speak about the greatness of America? And anybody who knows me knows that if I'm going anywhere to speak, I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm going to speak about that America may have been great for somebody, but if you are a person of color in America and you believe America has been great for you, then I would like for you to do something very, very simple. Purchase this book. Purchase this book I wrote, If America Loved Me the Way I Loved It, from a Black Man's Eyes, because it gives you the truth of what America has been for over the 250 years for black men. But not only black men, but the totality of the black family, of the black community, of the black church, of the black activists, of anybody who stood up for blackness to be treated equally under the Constitution, under all of the laws that were put in place to prevent people from having equal access to just natural things, normal things, societal things, things that grow a society by giving everybody access based on their commitment to the outcome. And that's what this book does. Again, I want you to see it. If America loved me the way I loved it, from a black man's eyes. You can go to my website, www.rorytedwards. You can go to the store, you can purchase it. But I encourage you, if you're going to go to the celebration, make sure that if you're going to share any type of information, make sure that the information you share is truthful. You see what they're trying to do. They're trying to eliminate our historical contributions out of every aspect of America. Now, why would you get rid of somebody who hasn't been significant? Why would you do that? There's a very simple truth to that. It's because the significance of the building of this country is that the blood, sweat, and tears of those people of melanated ancestry. And I don't want to turn this into a racial type of ending. I want to turn this into a celebration that we have the ability to also be respected for our contributions, just like you want us to respect the contributions of 250 years of America. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. And so that's why I'm going there. I'm going to talk about assimilation and what that means from the perspective of my educational life journey and the mentors, the great men and women who I've had in my life who have poured into me, have poured into my roots, so that I'm able to put it into print, This is what I've done. I put it into print. And if you don't have the information, you will always be a puppet of the system. So with that being said, until then, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and remember, your greatest responsibility is not becoming someone else. It's becoming who you were always meant to be. This is Dr. Rory T. Edwards on House Calls, ending the month of May, and I want to say until our paths cross again, may you all walk in your purpose, and may you all continue to be blessed by the universal energy that will give you the capacity to fulfill your purpose. So till we talk again, Ashe.